anti-national, things like that are usually heard during Lok Sabha elections or maybe even some state elections when things are really, really polarized and the political temperatures are up. But do you know that these are the things being said for a civic body election in Hyderabad, where temperatures are unusually high and the things you usually hear in a national election scenario are being said right there in this city?
Jinnah's new avatar.
समझ में नहीं आ रहा बीजेपी को, इतना फ्रस्ट्रेशन का शिकार हो गए। हैदराबाद को आ रहे तो बाबा जरा इनको अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह की बिरयानी तो खिलाओ, थोड़ा होश ठिकाने आता।
एक बार बीजेपी का गवर्नमेंट तेलंगाना में आन दे, तेरी जिंदगी भर मेरी जुत्ती के नीचे गुजरता।
डराएंगे ना तो हम भी डरा सकते हो, गए दुनिया जमाना चला गया, लुंगी उठा के दिखाने का जमाना।
The fact that the TRS and the MIM will not stand by the average Indian but choose to stand by illegal immigrants so that they can politically gain is shameful.
It shows their desperation. It shows the only thing they know is basically to stoke primordial emotions and religious passions and nothing more, nothing less.
Telanganadalli democracy is of the family, by the family, for the family ಆಗೋಗಿದೆ.
ಈ ಮೇಯರ್ ಅಭ್ಯರ್ಥಿಗೆ ಗೆಲ್ಲಿಸಿದ ಬಿಡ್ಡ ನೀ ಪಾತ ಬಸ್ಸಿಲೋ, ನೀ ಪಾತ ಬಸ್ಸಿ మీద ಸರ್ಜಿಕಲ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಕ್ చేసివల.
How ridiculous and how ludicrous more can they get, I don't know.
नोटबंदी में बीजेपी की तारीफ, जीएसटी में बीजेपी की तारीफ, हम तो मुखालफत करते रहे, हमसे ज्यादा बीजेपी के मुखालिफिन बने पड़े।
मैं इस बार पक्का दावे के साथ कह सकता हूँ 10 से 12 सीट जीतेंगे और वहाँ हराएंगे मजलिस को, मैं ये भी बोल रहा हूँ।
Ahead of these civic body polls in Hyderabad, political temperatures are at fever pitch. The local elections are being fought with national energy, with the BJP's big guns slated to land in the city. In fact, they've already landed, with Smriti Irani and others already there. From the BJP's vow to launch surgical strikes against illegal immigrants to Owaisi's biryani offer, barbs are flying thick and fast, and you would be forgiven if you didn't know that this was a simple local level election.
हैदराबाद को आ रहे तो बाबा जरा इनको अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह की बिरयानी तो खिलाओ, थोड़ा होश ठिकाने आता।
OIC is Muhammad Ali Jinnah's new avatar.
If you thought this high decibel campaign was for a state or a national poll, well, think again. This is the battle for Hyderabad, a three-way fight between the ruling TRS, the BJP and the AIMIM. And the BJP has pulled out its big guns. On Thursday, former Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis will be releasing the party manifesto. On Friday, UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath will be holding a roadshow and a rally in Hyderabad. On the 28th of November, BJP Chief JP Nadda will be in the Malkajgiri constituency. And on the 29th of November, Home Minister Amit Shah will be carrying out a roadshow in Sikandrabad. On Wednesday, Union Minister Smriti Irani was in Hyderabad, and she was the latest to train her guns on AIMIM Chief Asaduddin Owaisi and his party.
कि एक तरफ हमारे देश की सरहद पर हमारी फौज लड़ रही है ताकि दुश्मन देश हमारे देश को कोई हानि ना पहुंचाए, दूसरी ओर इस शहर में, ऐतिहासिक शहर में, MIM के अपने पॉलिटिकल नेता और वर्कर्स इलीगल इमिग्रेंट्स को वोटर लिस्ट में जगह दे रहे हैं। उसका जवाब हिंदुस्तान की आवाम को, हैदराबाद की आवाम को उन्हें देना पड़ेगा।
The Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation election has become a prestige battle for both TRS and BJP, while the ruling Pink Party is trying hard to retain the corporation. The Saffron Party is utilizing this municipal election to gain more ground in Hyderabad and increase its presence in Telangana.
No wonder then, from nationalism to Rohingyas and illegal migrants, the BJP is leaving no stone unturned and no issue untouched to take on Hyderabad's strongman Asaduddin Owaisi and his party, the AIMIM.
ఈ ఎన్నికలో భారతీయ జనతా పార్టీ మేయర్ అభ్యర్థిగా గెలిచిన తర్వాత బిడ్డ నీ పాత బస్సులో
నీ పాత బస్సు మీద సర్జికల్ స్ట్రైక్ చేసి వల్ల ఈ రోహింగ్యాలను ఈ పాకిస్తాన్ నా కొడుకులను తరిమి తరిమి కొట్టే బాధ్యత ఇలా భారతీయ జనతా పార్టీ తీసుకుంటది.
मैं बीजेपी से कह रहा हूं कि जो भी आज स्टेटमेंट दिया, मैं प्राइम मिनिस्टर से बोल रहा हूं, ये बात सच है कि चीन की फौज लद्दाख में दिप्सांग प्लेन एक इलाका है, 970 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर पर चीन बैठा हुआ है. मिस्टर मोदी वहां सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक नहीं करेंगे, मुंह से चीन का नाम नहीं लेंगे, वहां से निकालने की बात नहीं करेंगे.
The surgical strike face-off came on the back of a beef over biryani.
अब बीजेपी वाले तो ऐसा दिख रहा कि कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा, बीजेपी को इतना फ्रस्ट्रेशन का शिकार हो गए. हैदराबाद को आ रहे तो बाबा जरा इनको अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह की बिरयानी तो खिलाओ, थोड़ा होश ठिकाने आता.
तो मैं दोनों को कहना चाहूंगा कि हमारे पास भी वाल्मीकि समाज के बहुत बड़े भाई बंधु हैं जिनकी होटलें हैं और वो बहुत ही सुंदर बिरयानी बनाते हैं. एक बार उनकी भी बिरयानी खाकर देख लो कि कितनी टेस्टी बिरयानी हमारे वाल्मीकि समाज के भाई बंधु बनाते हैं.
The TRS, which lost the recently held Dubaka Assembly by-poll to the BJP too, is pulling no punches.
शायद वो डोनाल्ड ट्रंप को भी बुला लेंगे बहुत ही जल्द, क्योंकि वो भी खाली हैं, क्योंकि वो भूल चुके हैं कि ये गली इलेक्शन है. दिल्ली से लीडर आते हैं, अब इंटरनेशनली भी शायद लीडर आएंगे, ट्रंप साहब भी आएंगे क्योंकि दोस्त हैं उनके. तो हमें तो बस जनता की आशीर्वाद चाहिए, हैदराबाद की जनता की आशीर्वाद चाहिए, क्योंकि हम ये मानते हैं कि ये हैदराबाद की फ्यूचर तय करने वाली इलेक्शन है.
One thing is perhaps certain, a political precedent has been set. Municipal elections probably will never be the same again. With Ashish Pandey in Hyderabad, Bureau Report, India Today. So like I keep saying right through our coverage of this, if I didn't explicitly tell you that this was the Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation election, you'd be forgiven for thinking that this was some kind of a national election or maybe even a state election during some really, really polarized time. Big guns, big polarizing rhetoric. It's not the kind of thing you usually hear for a very local level election in the Greater Hyderabad area. Joining us live on Newstrack this evening, Abid Rasool Khan. He's a leader of the Telangana Rashtra Samiti, the ruling party of Telangana. Krishank Rao, welcome back. He's spokesperson of the BJP. Veera Raghav is a senior journalist tracking politics in the southern part of the country. And Syed Asad Abbas is a political analyst. Krishank Rao, I'm going to come to you first because the allegation from the ruling party in Telangana is that the BJP is basically using its tried and tested playbook, which is to stir up primordial passions and emotions and stay away from talking about the issues that affect people. The TRS basically says that by talking about anti-nationals and illegal immigrants and Jinnah, etc., etc., the BJP is basically playing to its strengths.
Shiv, we have only one playbook, and that is applied all across the country, and we have been doing that since we are incepted. Now that playbook name is development, and only our playbook and nothing else. But we are drawn into these kind of peripheral issues by opponents who do not perform, because we have a track record of performance, and that is what is happening at the national end, and also at the states where we run the government, and also at the city councils and corporations where BJP runs governments. There is just development, nothing else. But when we question what have you done in the last 5 years in GHMC, KTR's response is that if you elect BJP, there will be communal disturbances. This is the answer. When we question why didn't you deliver on the promises of the 2-bedroom houses, why didn't you make better roads? Why did you sink Hyderabad with criminal encroachments? The answer is BJP is communal. That is the answer. Because they have no answers to give in terms of performance.
Let's try and get some answers. Let's try and get some answers, Krishank Rao. Abid Rasool Khan, the BJP says that it was the TRS and specifically KT Ramarao who sort of threw the first proverbial communal punch by saying that vote for us for development and vote for BJP for communal flare-ups in Hyderabad. This is during a civic poll campaign. Abid Rasul Khan.
First of all, if it is an election which is being fought on development, on achievements and on the performance, we welcome the BJP to contest with us, and we also would like to say that we are ready for a fair fight on that issues. But as I have been watching your channel for the last 10 minutes, the whole narrative has been set by BJP, and it has set the narrative of agenda where you're talking of surgical strike. I can't understand, because I have read and I have seen that surgical strike is on terrorists in Pakistan, where our planes go and hit the terrorists and finish them off. If that is what they are going to do on the old city, then God only take care of old city. But if it is something that they want to show, let them come up with the development, let them come up with the manifesto.
Okay.
Leave all this biryani and all this surgical strike, name changing and all that, and talk about the development. The people of Telangana are educated. They know what is happening. They have seen the development. They have seen what we have achieved in the last 5 years. And we are ready for a fair fight, and we welcome them. As a matter of fact, Hyderabad's brand has to be safeguarded for all of us, our children, our families, and that Hyderabad, which has been known to receive everybody and accommodate them and take them into its arm, that has to be kept alive. That is our
Krishnashagar Rao, the allegation from the TRS.
Mr. Krishnashagar Rao.
Abid Rasul Khan is being much more gracious than some of the others in the party who've said some of the polarizing things, like the BJP leaders, no doubt. But Krishnashagar Rao, the allegation is that even if it was the TRS that provoked or drew you into this narrative, there is going to be one view that the BJP has taken it to the next level. Speaking about surgical strikes, okay, fine. If Jinnah was a response to the biryani bab, but the surgical strikes, the infiltrators, the anti-nationals, border, Pakistan, all of that, sounds a little over the top for a civic election, is the allegation against the BJP.
See, the irony of selectively picking only the reactions and not the body content of the campaign is an issue. I'll not blame media for that.
Okay, fair enough.
But the fireworks are all in negative reactions, negative comments. What I'm saying is our core election agenda is to showcase the failure of GHMC governance by TRS and MIM. That is the core. And what is the core campaign of KCR and KTR? KCR says, if you vote for BJP, I am in the state government, I'll stall the development. That's what KCR said openly. It's an open threat. While it's an empty threat, it's an open threat.
Yeah.
But we didn't say that. Our question was that why did not you deliver? Now KTR says, when we ask why didn't you deliver, he says, if you come, you will create communal disturbance.
You've made that point.
We will only give you development. Where is the development?
I would like to take a minute and rebut this.
That the body and the core of our campaign is development for GHMC and nothing else. And rights for the civic bodies, corporators, and the spirit of 73-74 amendment, which has been demolished, destroyed by KCR and his team.
Okay, I just want to point out to our viewers, Abid Rasul Khan, you can come in to rebut if you wish. I just want to say one thing. That there our viewers must be curious about why there is this sort of high voltage campaign being mounted by everyone for the GHMC elections. So we've got some graphics on our screen which our viewers can look at, which gives you a sense of the the size of the GHMC, who has how many seats in that, and why this is so important to the BJP, because it's something that nobody can have two opinions about. The BJP has brought out the big guns for this election. This is the kind of firepower that you usually see deployed for a state election or maybe even a national election. So it's a little jarring to see the kind of weaponry that has been deployed, if I may use that word, for a civic body election. Abid Rasul Khan, go ahead, rebut, then I'm going to bring in my other guests. Welcoming onto the show, political analyst Kalyani Shankar and journalist Veera Raghav.
Now you have to...
Yes, go ahead.
What Mr. Krishnashagar Rao has said, I would like to say that the international agencies have placed Hyderabad as the #1 city in the country. The evidence of that is we have international companies like Amazon, PepsiCo coming up, setting up huge headquarters and huge workshops and industries here. And then you should understand what is needed to the people. We have been providing them continuous electricity. We have been providing them water. We have been providing them security, not a single incidence of communal violence in the 6 years. The women are safe, the children are safe, the country, a city is developing, real estate is at boom, rents are at its boom, people are happy. And this is the narrative what has been said by hard work. It is not something which has been taken up in the last 6 years after the state was formed. The Hyderabad has been transformed and it is acknowledged by international agencies. Merck has placed Hyderabad as the #1 city. So these are the credentials we hold, not the words what the others are using. If BJP has done something, let us come and showcase the achievements, come up with a good manifesto and ask the people to vote for it. We have no objection at all.
Let's get
leave it to the voter. They are the supreme voters who will decide.
Okay, on this particular point, we've gone to and fro between the ruling party and the BJP. The BJP definitely wants to
Shiv, just give me 1 point.
Okay.
Give me 30 seconds.
20 seconds because we've got 3 other guests waiting. Yeah.
Shiv, give me 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I got it. See, what Abhijit is talking about is probably a distorted vision of how they see Hyderabad. Because investments come through the national policy, not by an individual policy of a corporation.
Okay.
And what has happened about the Hyderabad international, international brand, Hyderabad has become a sinking city. 30% of the city has become a Vatican city. 30% of the Hyderabad has sunk because of the encroachments which the existing corporation allowed. And their very dear friend MIM has started allowing buildings within the nalas, in the middle of the lakes, not just in the FTLs.
Okay, Krishank Manne, your 30 seconds are up.
Is a dream.
Point made. You're saying the TRS can't take credit for the investment on the and the image that Hyderabad has. Okay, let's leave that part aside just for a moment. Syed Asad Abbas, I want to bring you in on this because even with the disclaimer that perhaps the media tends to upplay the incendiary comments that politicians make and downplay some of the more development centric things, like for example what Abhijit and Krishank Rao were just talking about. How do you see the kind of politics that has been played out in this campaign so far? Jinnah and biryani and surgical strikes.
Absolutely. Trust me, Shiv. While I was watching India Today, and I was seeing these respective leaders such as Smriti Irani, Tejasvi Surya, Asaduddin Owaisi and his party on one side, it was nothing short of, I thought it is going to be the elections in Telangana state, which actually passed by just 3 years. There are 2 more years to go. My God, what is happening? This is just a municipal corporate elections. But we need to give the credit here where it belongs. Both the parties or all 3 parties, the TRS, MIM and BJP know to get into the grassroots level, this is very important. Now let me quickly pose a question to Mr. Rao. Sir, I agree, Vikas Development, the Bharatiya Janata Party is a party with a difference. Then why, sir, your young leader, such as Tejasvi Surya, had to bring in Muslim, Hindu, Pakistan, Jinnah? Where is the need to give it a communal color, sir? Are you equivalent to an MIM which calls it biryani, alhamdulillah, beef biryani and so on and so forth? Is there a need? And final question, Smriti Irani ji talks about Rohingyas. Asaduddin Owaisi has given an open challenge. Show me 100 Rohingya voters. I challenge you. Why don't you prove him wrong? I'd like to request you to prove him wrong on both fronts.
Sir, two specific questions. Let him answer that. Let him answer that since you addressed it to Krishank Rao. Then I'll bring in Veera Raghav and Kalyani Shankar. Yeah, go ahead, Krishank Rao.
See, as I said earlier, BJP is not the party which rouses the rabble. We only react and we answer because we have the right to answer. Now, when you're talking about Tejasvi Surya, he was stalled by a barbed wire fencing before the Osmania University campus, where he had to go through, remove the barbed wire and go through. So we are questioning, why are you stopping a young MP from going and saluting martyrs of the student movement after Telangana movement? Now, when he obviously goes there and then he reacts to the accusations made by MIM, then you only carry what Surya says and you do not carry the whole body of his campaign. Now, number 2, Why do we need to talk about MIM? MIM is a 1% party. The problem here is MIM comes in and attacks BJP and attacks the nationalism, attacks our ideology. Just imagine what happened in Bihar when one MIM newly elected MLA says remove Hindustan from swearing-in ceremony. Now, why doesn't it get impacted in a GHMC election where MIM is standing?
Rohingya,
so BJP has to say, we are not apologetic.
Okay.
1 minute. Come on, Shiv, come on.
Let him finish. I'll come back to you, Syed. Syed, I'll come back to you. Let him finish.
I'm giving. You asked me a question. Now, if we say if MIM is more empowered by votes, just with 5 MLAs, if they're saying remove Hindustan word, if you give them more, they will remove Hindustan.
Okay.
That is what they have threatened before. That is what we have used.
No,
So
there are very many incendiary things that have been said by both sides. Let me come in here. We've played out all those.
These are reactions.
We have played out all of those sound bites. We've played out all those sound bites. There is no doubt. So you're saying, Krishank Manne, you're saying it perhaps for the 4th time that the BJP has reacted to this.
I will close the answer.
Okay, close it.
Shiv,
10 seconds, please.
Kindly give me some time for the Rohingyas. 10 seconds. The gentleman asked the question, I have to answer. Rohingyas, the Rohingyas are of different communities. Rohingyas doesn't mean Muslims. But Muslim Rohingyas who have come across and they're illegal. They are legally enabled people who have come here, but the illegal Muslim Rohingyas who are staying in the old city, the numbers are huge. There is no question about it. You come, I'll show you colonies. And colonies of illegal Rohingya Muslims. So what is so wrong in
raising the issue?
We saying these people cannot be given.
Let me just broaden it one second. 1 second.
So these people cannot become
there are two.
populars.
I do want to get a view. Syed, 1 second. Syed, I want to try and broaden this just a little bit. Okay, we've dealt with the words that have been used. We've dealt with the Rohingya issue. Syed, you can answer that in a bit, but let me bring in the others. Kalyani Shankar, even if you grant the fact that the BJP has a hunger for elections, they've got every right to bring in the big guns, the firepower, and campaign the way they want to. Are we missing something? I mean, this is unusual. This is an unusual level of temperature and firepower that is being deployed. Of course, the BJP wants to gain more ground. Of course, they have smelt blood since the Lok Sabha performance last year. Of course, they want to build a grassroots presence in Telangana and perhaps, move away the Congress and at some point topple the TRS. Is there anything we are missing in what we are seeing, madam?
Well, what I have been watching Andhra Pradesh, I have lived in Hyderabad years ago. I know how it is done, even MIM also. AIMIM. Earlier it was MIM.
Yes.
So even the father also was there, Salahuddin Owaisi. He was. You see what is happening now. The panchayat elections, at no time I have ever seen that to this level of campaign. Of course, it's done not with the level of fielding all the film stars and then cricketers and everybody else. They are trying to bring them in. With Pawan Kalyan, they have managed to get him to endorse them.
Yes.
But the thing is that, both the MIM, AIMIM and the BJP are coming to the panchayat elections with some, moral boost. Because MIM has done very well in
Bihar.
And BJP has done well otherwise also.
Yeah.
And they want to increase. And I know for sure for years, BJP has been trying to make a dent in Hyderabad and Andhra Pradesh, as well Andhra Pradesh. But they have never been able to do it. Earlier there were only two MLAs at one point of time. Only Venkaiah Naidu and only Venkaiah Naidu was there at the time. So from one to now they want to do it, but they think that since they've been able to do well in other states, then they can do very well in Andhra Pradesh also.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, it's totally different. It's a linguistic state. It has got other characteristics. It was a rice bowl earlier. Yeah. So because of all these things, it is a different state, and that's why they want to do it. And the second thing is that both BJP and AIMIM want to polarize the electorate. That is a So they just want to do it by polarizing Hindus and Muslims. And TRS earlier was with the AIMIM, so because they did very well, now they are going alone. Maybe it's because BJP has told AIMIM they have some understanding.
This is the allegation we've heard quite often, ma'am. Absolutely, I agree. Yes.
Not only now, from Maharashtra. Maharashtra, they put AIMIM.
Absolutely.
They had more strength there than they had gone to Bihar. Now they are planning to go to West Bengal. So they have also increased their strength. So with that moral boost, they are coming. And BJP, of course, everywhere it has come up very well. They think they can do very well.
Absolutely.
If they capture the Hyderabad corporation, it will be a big boost because it's a big corporation.
Yes, it is.
And a lot of money, like Mumbai Corporation. So it's a big thing for them. It's a grassroots level politics. So if they are able to get it at the grassroots level, I'm sure they'll be able to do well in the election in 2020. So there is 2-3 years time for that, but this is the one thing which they want to show.
So I love the perspective that you've given us, madam, about the fact that the BJP has always wanted to make that dent in Hyderabad, but hasn't managed to do so in a significant way so far. Veera Raghav, to bring you in, do you see anything unusual about what's going on, or does it all fit in with what we've seen so far? The BJP's momentum, its ambitions. It can never be faulted for having ambitions. As far as states where it doesn't really have much of a presence. We're seeing something like this in Tamil Nadu as well. What do you make of this GHMC campaign, though, Veera Raghav?
Well, adding to what Kalyani had said, look, you need to see this from a larger national narrative of the AIM, of Asaduddin Owaisi emerging as the challenger who cuts the Muslim vote across the country. So it comes down to Hyderabad, where you are going to have the BJP versus, and like in your show, the conversation is between the BJP and the AIM, and Asad's party. But the TRS is getting squeezed out in that battle, and given Hyderabad's population dynamics, remember, this is the perhaps municipal corporation in the country where the minority vote is the decisive vote.
Yes.
In terms of parliamentary constituency. So you see the symbolism of Hyderabad. So given that, I just have one observation to make here, Shiv.
Yes.
Those who have observed the history of TRS know very well that the TRS went in and demanded an early election to favor along with the BJP. The TRS played along with the BJP. Now it's at the receiving end of the BJP at the moment. And I think the BJP has found a very useful opposition in the AIM, in the All India Majlis Ittihadul Muslimin, and is using that to the hill. This just fits into the larger national narrative, and I think Hyderabad, the history given to it, will obviously play a fascinating background for this polarization debate.
Very, very interesting points by both the analysts. Since Veera Raghav addressed both the TRS and the BJP specifically, Abid Rasul Khan, would you like to respond to that? Veera Raghav says the TRS seems a little squeezed, between the conversation, the kind of big, high voltage ping pong between the BJP and the AIMIM. The TRS feels squeezed out.
Yeah, first of all, what perspective has been given by Mr. Veera Raghavan and the lady before that is definitely what is happening in the ground here. Now you should understand the frustration and the desperation of BJP for a single municipality which is being contested in Hyderabad. It is being made like a national election. The issues which are being raised are national. They are not talking about roads. They are not talking about water. They are not talking about the floods where they have not helped the state. They are not talking about the financial crunch they are getting us into by not releasing the GST. They are not talking about other issues, but talking about division and polarization, which definitely will hit the brand image of Hyderabad. You should, being a Hyderabadi,
but you're making the same point, Abid Rasul Khan. That wasn't the question that was asked. You're making the same point against the BJP, but the question here was that the TRS appears to be at a kind of a disadvantage because the narrative appears to have been taken over by the AIM and the BJP.
No, let them. What I mean to say is, let them have their own narrative. We have got the narrative of development. We have got the narrative of well-being of all the citizens of the Telangana state, and we are going to stick by that. We are not going to be drawn into this nonsense what is happening here. We are not going to respond to these absurd comments which are being made. We will fight this election,
but
and
the
I'm sure
TRS
our
is
leaders will
responding,
also
sir.
fight
That's
this
the point.
election
Okay.
only on the narrative of development
Okay.
and brand Hyderabad. We have got confident that brand Hyderabad will get us the
Krishna
votes
Sagar
and
Rao,
the love of the people here.
Krishna Sagar Rao, the Veera Raghav and the others have said that the BJP, and this is something that you and I have spoken about before as well. The BJP has found a useful, foe or rival in the AIMIM. It works for both the parties, and in a civil, and I'm glad Veera Raghav said this, in a civic body, a municipal corporation where the minority vote counts for a lot, this kind of polarization will work in favor of both parties, and that's why perhaps the TRS, is feeling so squeezed out, Krishna Sagar Rao.
Shiv, I think the analyst gentleman had a wrong context. I think what he's talking about is national. I don't want to address that at this point.
No, but he was talking about the GHMC specifically as well.
Let me answer that, because MIM is in a small space of 44-45 seats. Beyond that, there is nothing which we can do about MIM. MIM has no role to play, and the same is the case with Parliament or assemblies. In assemblies, not more than 7 seats, and in Parliament, nothing beyond Hyderabad.
We have those numbers. We'll put them in
Parliament
the
assembly,
yeah.
Parliament constituency. So, I think you should allow me to speak.
Please.
You all got your opportunity. Now, what I'm saying is, whether Abhijit says, whether the analysts say, the core of our campaign is development of the civic body called GHMC. We have been asking questions about why did you sink Hyderabad? Why did you not clear the encroachments? Why did you not give the promised 2-bedroom homes to the poor?
Okay.
Why did you not open up more government schools and hospitals? They have no answers. So our focus is on civic body. Our national party has the resources of national leaders. So we are bringing in. All of you should commend the vibrant democratic spirit of BJP.
Okay.
That even at the civic body, we fight to serve. We don't fight to marginalize others. We fight to serve people. That is what we are asking. Give us a vote. We will give you development.
Okay.
But when they have given the vote to TRS and MIM, what did they do? They sunk Hyderabad. The deluge was international. So the international brand he's talking about, Rasulji, you have already betrayed that brand. You have demolished that brand. And only BJP can rebuild that brand. One more final point I want to say is that the independence of a local body, the democratic and constitutional spirit of 73-74 has been removed. The fiefdom of KCR has ensured that he has transferred funds from GHMC. He has made GHMC into a bankrupt corporation. It has to go with begging borders.
Abid Rasul Khan, short answer. Short answer. Short rebuttal, then I'll go to the others for their closing comments.
I would definitely love to have a debate with Mr. Krishna Sagar Rao on the development, on the issues of this thing, but I don't think this is the platform where we can debate each other. If there is an opportunity, we will definitely debate each other on the development. But the point which I am trying to make, and where Mr. Krishna Sagar is also drawn into, is development. We are ready to fight this election on development, and we humbly request Mr. Krishna Sagar Rao to prevail on his leaders to stop this rhetoric of communalism, polarization and all. Let us fight a fair election, and if the people have the right to vote for whichever party
now it's too late. Tomorrow is the last day of campaigning.
We cannot take over the...
The point is the election is over, sir.
If he's ready for a debate tomorrow, I am ready for a debate.
I understand what you're saying.
And talk about the development. We are confident that Hyderabad brand, what we have worked out, has achieved the people's mandate and people's trust.
The BJP is saying that development is the issue, but it's the TRS that says it. Anyway, I want to...
Development.
Very, very small amount of time left for this.
You look at the last 4 days newspapers, you look at the TV debates, and you can decide what is happening here.
Okay. Syed, the election is over. I mean, this particular campaign is done. And, it has probably completely changed. I don't know if I've ever seen a civic body election fought with this kind of fervor, political or otherwise. Is this going to be how they're going to change? I mean, the BJP can't be faulted. I for one, don't. You can't say why is the BJP bringing Smriti Irani or JP Nadda or Amit Shah. I mean, they are a national party. They will do what needs to be done to fight an election.
Absolutely. Shiv, as a matter of fact, I'm very glad that the Bharatiya Janata Party is coming into the municipal elections because it's good. I really appreciate the hunger which a Bharatiya Janata Party has to win from the grassroots level. Big thumbs up to that. The only fact of the matter is when they call a party which speaks about Vikas, when they call a party which speaks about development, kindly Sir Rao Saab, with folded hands, I request you to please pass on the message to Smriti Irani ji and Tejasvi Surya Sahab that don't give it a communal color.
Okay, same point again.
You call it as a communal color. Doing a Hindu-Muslim, doing a Pakistan Jinnah.
We're going around in circles, sir. You make the same point.
Speak about Vikas. And Rohingya, sir, take the challenge of OIC and prove that there are...
Syed, come on. Syed, now you're going around in circles. It's the same question you've asked. You can agree to disagree on that point. I have only 20 seconds left. Okay.
Prove it, Rao Saab.
Since I have only 20 seconds left, Krishna Sagar Rao.
I will take the challenge. I will take you around the colonies of Rohingyas in Hyderabad.
Okay. I think
prove it on the electoral ballot.
Okay.
Prove it on the election commission.
Syed is based in Bengaluru. Syed is based in Bengaluru. He's received an open invitation from Krishna Sagar Rao. I will leave it to both of you whether you want to do that or not.
I will take you to the illegal Rohingya colonies.
Okay.
And
tomorrow is the last day of campaigning. We'll have to see how things go. This was an enriching...
Just give me 10 seconds.
Quickly after that.
10 seconds.
Rao Saab,
Smriti spoke today. She spoke on development. She questioned KCR, KTR. She questioned KTR why he did not resign when he sunk the city. She spoke only on development.
Okay, I'm going to end.
Our national president.
Okay,
I want all the analysts to watch his press conference and
I'm going to say
he will only speak on development. That is what BJP promises to
just to show you how independent we are here in India today. Let me revive my disclaimer right at the start. Sometimes the media tends to amplify the incendiary comments and sort of downplay some of the other parts of the conversation which may have been focused on development. I will concede that, but here in India today, we will cover all of these aspects because this is an unusual civic body election, no matter which way you look at it. Kalyani Shankar, Krishna Sagar Rao, Abid Rasul Khan, Syed Asad Abbas, Veera Raghav. Pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me here on Newstrack.